There are men who walk into a room and say nothing, no booming voice, no flashy clothes, no exaggerated gestures, yet the entire atmosphere shifts. Conversations hush, eyes turn, postures adjust. Not because they are the tallest, the richest, or the loudest, but because of presence. Presence is not inherited. It is not granted by status or birthright. It is forged, tempered in silence, sharpened through suffering, and solidified through relentless self-mastery. This presence is not about intimidation for the sake of dominance. It is not rooted in aggression or arrogance. Instead, it emerges from a deep, unyielding internal structure, a mind so disciplined, a spirit so anchored that external chaos cannot sway it. Such a man does not try to look dangerous. He simply is, and the world senses it instinctively. What makes him dangerous is not violence, but unpredictability, not rage, but restraint, not noise, but stillness. And within that paradox lies the essence of true power. Below are four behaviors rooted in ancient philosophy, psychological insight, and timeless human observation that instantly elevate a man's aura of quiet danger. These are not tactics. They are transformations. They are not performances. They are practices. And when internalized, they become invisible armor. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions. A sharp word, a sideways glance, a perceived slight any of these can trigger a cascade of defensive reactions. Raised voices, justification, blame, retaliation. The average person treats their ego like a fragile glass sculpture, constantly polishing it, defending it, and shattering at the first sign of threat. But the man who commands danger does not react. He responds, and only when necessary. More often, he simply observes. This is not suppression. It is sovereignty. Emotional control is not about bottling up anger or pretending you don't feel. It is about refusing to let emotion dictate action. It is the ability to feel deeply rage, sorrow, desire, and yet choose your behavior with precision. As Epictetus, the former slave turned Stoic philosopher, taught, anyone capable of angering you becomes your master. If someone can provoke you into losing composure, they now hold influence over you. They have a lever, and levers can be used to move mountains or break men. The truly dangerous man removes all levers. He does not flinch when pushed. He does not defend his pride with fury. He does not correct every misconception. He allows insults to land like rain on stone, unnoticed, irrelevant. This unnerves people, because humans are wired to expect reaction. When insult meets silence, the aggressor is left disoriented, questioning their own power. This is the danger of emotional stillness. It creates psychological uncertainty. People fear what they cannot predict, and no one is more unpredictable than the man whose inner state cannot be read. Consider a man in a heated argument. Others shout, they gesture wildly, they demand to be heard, but one man sits back, expression neutral, breathing steady. He listens, he does not interrupt, he does not justify, and when he finally speaks, his words are measured, deliberate, devoid of ego. In that moment, he has already won, not because he was louder, but because he was calmer. Calm is the ultimate weapon in a world addicted to chaos. Ruthless, emotional, control is not coldness, it is clarity. It is the ability to separate stimulus from response, to feel the fire without burning the house down. This mastery is not achieved overnight. It is built through daily discipline, through meditation, reflection, and the conscious choice to pause before reacting. It is the slow cultivation of an inner citadel, impervious to the storms of circumstance. When you no longer react impulsively, you become a force of intention. And intention, not emotion, is the hallmark of power. The second behavior that marks a dangerous man is his complete detachment from the opinions of others. Most people live their lives as performers on a stage they didn't design. seeking applause from an audience they don't even like. They change their opinions, alter their behavior, contort their values, all in pursuit of approval. They fear judgment more than failure. Criticism wounds them more than injustice. But the man who walks with danger does not explain himself. He does not justify his choices. He does not seek permission. He moves forward, eyes fixed on his purpose, indifferent to the noise around him. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, once wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This is the great human contradiction. We claim to value ourselves, yet we outsource our self-worth to strangers. The dangerous man breaks this cycle. He understands that every time he seeks validation, he surrenders a piece of his autonomy. Every time he reacts to criticism, he grants power to someone else's perspective. So he stops. He stops caring, not out of arrogance, not out of apathy, but out of sovereignty. When you no longer need praise, you become immune to flattery. When you are no longer wounded by criticism, you become unreachable. And the unreachable are feared not because they are cruel, but because they cannot be manipulated. People fear those who do not need them, because need creates leverage. Love, approval, fear of rejection, these are all strings that can be pulled. But a man who needs nothing from the world cannot be controlled by it. This indifference is not misanthropy, it is clarity. It is the realization that your value is not determined by consensus, that your path is yours alone. That applause is fleeting, but integrity is eternal. Such a man does not dress to impress. He does not speak to be admired. He acts because it is right, not because it is popular. His silence is not submission, it is selection. He chooses when to speak, when to engage, when to disappear, and in that choice lies power to live without. Needing approval is to walk through the world like a ghost scene, but untouchable, observed, but ungraspable. This is the essence of danger. Not that he will harm you, but that he could, and you would never see it coming, because he does not play by your rules. He does not care about your game, but the truly dangerous man has mastered his desires, not by denying them entirely, but by refusing to be ruled by them. He can look at power and say, "I don't need it." He can walk away from beauty, money, or fame without hesitation, and in that act of refusal, he becomes terrifying. Seneca, the Roman Stoic, wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." Poverty is not a lack of wealth, it is a lack of contentment. A man who constantly wants more is enslaved by his desires, by the systems that exploit them, by the fear of losing what he has. But the man who wants little fears nothing, because there is nothing to take from him. This is the quiet rebellion of self-denial. It is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. To want nothing is to be free. To need nothing is to be invincible. Imagine a negotiator who cannot be bribed, a soldier who cannot be seduced, a leader who cannot be corrupted. What weapon do you use against such a man? Money. He doesn't want it. Praise. He doesn't need it. Threats. He has nothing to lose. This is the danger of desirelessness. It is not that he is emotionless. It is that he has transcended the tyranny of impulse. He understands that every craving is a potential weakness. Every attachment is a vulnerability. So he trains himself to want less, to need less, to depend on less. This is not asceticism for its own sake. It is strategic detachment. It is the cultivation of inner abundance, so profound that external things lose their power. A man who is content in silence cannot be seduced by noise. A man who finds peace within cannot be bought with false promises. And a man who does not cling to anything cannot be broken by loss. In a world where everyone is chasing more money, more love, more recognition, the man who walks away from the chase becomes a mystery. And mysteries are feared, because they cannot be predicted. They cannot be controlled. They operate on a different frequency. And that frequency is danger. When everyone else is shouting, he is quiet. When panic spreads, he remains composed. When others explode in rage or collapse in despair, he stands like a mountain in a storm unmoved, unshaken, undeniable. Stillness is not passivity. It is power in its most concentrated form. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Modern society equates strength with volume, with aggression, with visible force. But true strength is invisible. It is the ability to hold your center while the world spins out of control. This is emotional silence, the refusal to mirror the madness around you. When someone screams at you, you do not scream back. When someone tries to provoke you, you do not rise to the bait. You respond with silence, not out of fear, but out of mastery. This silence is not empty. It is full of meaning. It says, "I see you, I understand your game, and I choose not to play." People fear silence because it cannot be interpreted. A shouted insult can be countered. A physical threat can be defended against. These four behaviors: ruthless emotional control, absolute indifference to opinion, mastery over desire, and emotional silence in chaos are not isolated traits. They are interconnected. They form a single unified philosophy of self-mastery. They are not about becoming aggressive, not about seeking conflict, not about hurting others. They are about becoming unbreakable. A dangerous man is not dangerous because he is violent. He is dangerous because he is free. Free from ego, free from need, free from manipulation, free from fear.